What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some big information for you guys on the Nintendo Switch, RPG front, and a bit more. But before we get into anything, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And remember, we've got daily videos, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time right here on the channel. But let's go ahead and get into the first topic here, and that is once again the Nintendo Switch kind of flexing its domination right now across the world, because guess what happened for 2021? The Nintendo Switch was Europe's best-selling dedicated video game device, and we also have some best-selling games that were revealed for all throughout Europe. Now, the interesting thing about Europe is that it's so sketchy in terms of who counts who. We don't always get numbers out of everywhere, and the regions are just kind of weird, but we do have a roundup here of information. And I know that France has always been a very strong area for Nintendo, and France definitely put in some work adding into these good sales numbers for the Nintendo Switch last year. So the GSD has provided some new data about the sales of the European gaming market for 2021. Nintendo Everything is writing. Now, looking down the hardware, there was 7.1 million consoles sold during the year, for a 20% increase compared to 2020, which was the, of course, COVID worldwide pandemic year where everything was getting shut down and locked down, which we still had a little bit of that last year too, but it wasn't as bad as 2020. Now, the Nintendo Switch was the best selling console despite a 6% drop year on year, so that's compared to 2020. However, the system did see a boost in Denmark, Finland, Italy, and Sweden in 2021. So you're not seeing things decline too much. You're seeing things actually increase. And we also have to remember that there was a chip shortage, or there is a chip shortage that was definitely prohibiting more Nintendo Switch OLEDs being sold, especially around the time that Metroid Dread and SMT5 were starting to pick up sales in the European region. Now, there is also other information on some of the best-selling games. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did really well. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury also did really well. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl combined did really well. All of those were in the top 10, along with the typical FIFA and Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty and the games right there. So, of course, there'll be a link. You guys can check that out. And also, I'll put up something on the screen here. But I did want to talk about what's going on in Europe, because usually around this time of a console's life, you'll start to see the dip in sales. You'll start to see that things are kind of going down. And yes, there was a bit of a dip year on year, but you see sales increases, and that was pretty much only because of the chip shortage. So the Switch is actually getting stronger as things go along, all things considered. And I think it's because of the games. Obviously, that's like a no-brainer, but this is the strongest game lineup, in my opinion, that Nintendo's ever had. When it comes to first party and third party all combined, taking out nostalgia or games that you like the most, there's never been this amount of first and third party games for a Nintendo platform coming out at this rate from all developers, indie developers, all the way through up Nintendo. So I do think that that's the reason why the Nintendo Switch is doing so well, and it's well over 100 million units. Nintendo's going to announce the official numbers coming up pretty soon here, and I think that it's over 100 million, or it's right there at it. So I think that's the reason why, and obviously it shows here with the number of games being in the top 10 spots, not just in Europe, but across the world as well. So what are your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch dominating Europe here, the best-selling console of 2021? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got a huge Capcom Nintendo Switch eShop sale that's going on, and I want to make sure that I highlight some stuff that I think that you guys would be interested in. And Capcom is the big thing here to talk about. I mean, yes, there's plenty of other games. There's Mario plus Rabbids, there's Inverse, there's all sorts of stuff, Lost in Random. There's a bunch of great games, but the Capcom stuff here is incredible. You can get stuff like Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection for less than $20. The Mega Man games, Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, Mega Man X Legacy Collection, Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2, all of those are $9.99. So you can pick up that whole collection, all of it, for 40 bucks. That is incredible value, because those games, I mean, there's a lot of games per each collection on there, Also, if you want to pick up like Mega Man 11, that game's $14.99. So if you want to go on a old school romp in the past, the Mega Man games are all there, and I highly recommend the Mega Man X Legacy Collection. The first one and the second one, that's my pick. Those games are really good. Heck, even if you want to get a little bit interesting, you can go with the Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection, which has like a DS game on there, and that game kind of weird in terms of the two-screen stuff, but they make it work on the Nintendo Switch, so very interesting there. But let's keep it going here, because another one of my favorite franchises that I wanted to highlight is Resident Evil, and there is a big Resident Evil sale going down right now. So across the board, Resident Evil, the original, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, Revelations, and Revelations 2, all of those games are under $15 or $15 or under, so you can pick up all of those. It looks like for less than like 70 bucks or so when you start totaling all of it up here, so that's not too bad at the end of the day. And the Revelations games are $7.99 each, so 16 bucks for 1 and 2. Can't go wrong with that, especially with Resident Evil Revelations 1. The online multiplayer for Resident Evil Revelations 1, and I think for 2, but I know exactly for sure for 1 because I didn't play it too long ago, is still connected. So you can go online and play with a friend or play with randoms or whatever the case is with Resident Evil Revelations. And I think that all of the online stuff is still kind of connected. Yeah, Resident Evil 5, you can go on there and play co-op. So if you're just looking for a really cool shooters to play that have a little bit of survival aspects, at least with 4, 5, and 6 and Revelations, but the first one's obviously Resident Evil 0. Those are definitely the survival horror. Like, they're all there for you, so I just wanted to highlight those. Also, the Steam World games are on sale as well, all the Steam World games. But yeah, Resident Evil Capcom sale going down, so check it out if you're interested or you want to check out any of those games. I'll have a link in the description. You guys can see the full list on there. So what are your thoughts on that? Planning on picking up anything from this big eShop sale going down? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving into the next topic here, we've got some more sales information on the beast that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, I've talked about this quite a while now when it comes to Pokemon Legends potentially breaking sales records and things going on here, but I think that this game is going to be a little bit different because I feel that this game is going to be a slow burn kind of gainer when it comes to the sales. So what we know right now at this point, we know that the game is #1 on Amazon. Last time that I checked, it was #1 digitally, and it was also #1 the physical sales, or at least 1 and 2 there. Physical #1, digital sales #2. We also know that pretty much across the world in all of the major eShop regions, it's #1 on the eShop. And we also know, now at this point, we've got some official information from the UK itself, and they say that Pokemon Legends Arceus has the 4th biggest Pokemon launch in the UK. Now, the rundown of this is Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, then Pokemon Legends Arceus. But there is a little bit of an asterisk next to this because it doesn't include digital sales, and right now the digital sales for Pokemon are booming. They are like legitimately booming across the world. Like I said, it's #1 in every single region, and the Switch just kind of lends itself to digital. Digital sales on the Nintendo Switch have been higher at this point than any other Nintendo system in the history of the sales there. So I think if you actually included digital sales, I think it would actually be upward towards the 2nd or the #1 game, because I'm hearing some really good things coming out of Europe for the digital sales and also the UK as well. And also another thing to note here, Nintendo Everything notes this, is that the Legends Arceus sales comprised of nearly 50% of every box game sold in the UK last week. And this is the fastest selling Pokemon game where there's just a single release, beating out Pokemon Yellow back from 2000. So things are looking pretty good for Pokemon Legends Arceus. And honestly, I'm going to make another video on this because I made a previous one talking about how this is the future. I think that the Pokemon Company has no choice but to make the Legend style of gameplay the future Pokemon games, because I just don't see them going back or people accepting how it was before, when this puts you in the actual gameplay, the mindset, the feel of being a trainer better than any of the previous Pokemon games. And I talked about it. I stated on Twitter that this is probably my favorite Pokemon game of all time, and I've put 30+ hours into the game, and I'm just saying, yeah, I think that this is my favorite one of all time. It doesn't have the multiplayer aspect, And I think that that's something that obviously, you know, they have to figure out what to do with that with the Generation 9 and figuring out how to kind of blend the two games. But I do feel that there should be separate ones where you have a Pokemon Legends line of games where it's single player and co-op. I think that would be the best bet. Make it single player and co-op so you can still keep the style of game and not have to worry too much about balancing for PvP. And then you can also have the separate style of the generation like Pokemon Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon and all that, but take the good aspects from the game, from Legends in terms of like the structure and everything, and put it into the next generation of Pokemon games. So it seems like things are going really well for Game Freak, the Pokemon company, and Nintendo with the future of the Pokemon series based off of these sales, but we'll see how they actually handle things going forward. But it definitely looks good. So what are your thoughts on Pokemon Legends Arceus? Strong sales start. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here. We have a bit of an Xbox rumor here because it seems like Microsoft might be working on a Monster Hunter style new IP for Xbox and PC by a pretty talented developer. Here was the original article, and then we'll talk about the update that we did get from it. So Xbox is reportedly working with developer Certain Affinity on a Monster Hunter style co-op game. This is according to GamesBeat's Jeff Grubb, who spoke during the recent episode of the Grubb Snacks podcast on Giant Bomb. Xbox Game Studios is looking for more co-op games to add to Xbox Game Pass and are looking for a game that is similar to Monster Hunter. Quote, "They're working with Certain Affinity on what seems like a Monster Hunter style game," said Grubb, "a Monster Hunter clone. They see this gameplay style succeeding, and Microsoft's like, hey, we should try to make one of those. Is anyone out there going to pitch one?" Now, Grubb did add, they want more variety in the kinds of games they're putting on Game Pass, and this is an example of that. They're like, we probably can't get Monster Hunter on Game Pass. That would be pretty expensive, but we definitely want a game like that because we see the potential for that to grow and be a big thing with long-term support. Now, Certain Affinity is based out of Austin, Texas, and was founded back in 2006. They previously helped with development on several different big games in the Halo franchise, including last year's Halo Infinite. The team also co-developed Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, as well as working on the multiplayer in the 2016 Doom game and Halo the Master Chief Collection, plus a lot more. So this studio definitely has their fair share of work when it comes to multiplayer implementation and all of that. And I think that this is definitely something that Microsoft wants to do. They want to add value to Game Pass. They have a huge plethora of IPs. They have a ton of developers that they own now. They have so much resources and so much different, I would just say, talent to pick from. And they really need to start putting together a long-term plan for spending all of this money that they've spent. They've spent billions of dollars getting different publishers and developers over the past few years. And now is the time to start really executing on those plans. It's taken a bit of time. They essentially almost took a generation off when it comes to the Xbox One, because look at the games that are coming out on there, then look at the potential that they have on Xbox Series with all the different developers that they do now own. So I feel that Microsoft really needs to try to find that balance and add to Game Pass, because Game Pass is something right now, I think there's 25 million subscribers, which is good. Obviously, we don't know what tier those are and everything like that. They could be on like the dollar subscription plan and all that. But either way, you've got a large base of people that are paying, and it does seem like the Xbox game division is profitable, or they're making some money, at least from what they report. So I do think that growing Game Pass is going to be vital if you're spending $70 billion on different studios and publishers and everything. So getting a Monster Hunter style game would absolutely be good. And yeah, these type of games are what the Xbox fan base wants. People want that value for Game Pass. And if this game launches day one on Game Pass, and even if it's 70% as good as Monster Hunter or 80% as good as Monster Hunter, it doesn't need to be as good as Monster Hunter. It just needs to be somewhere near it, or maybe right around there. I think that that would be great for Game Pass to have more co-op and multiplayer games that you can choose from on there. That would be a first-party title that people can just play. So it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea, and I feel that this is something that's probably going to happen. Jeff Grubb usually does a good job with reporting on these type of things. So what are your thoughts when it comes to this potential Monster Hunter clone coming to Xbox and Game Pass? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the last topic here, a game that I'm really excited about. Seems like it's going to actually launch in 2022, plus something that you guys might be interested in, which is the Hogwarts Legacy. Once again, 2022, no more delays for these games, it seems. So Warner Bros. Was originally set to release the third-person action RPG Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy in 2021 before they were both delayed to 2022. Now, Warner Media CEO via Twitter has reassured fans that both games will launch in 2022 this year. He talked about the lineup for 2022 and said that the company is, quote, delivering a full slate of highly anticipated games. In the same tweet, there were images of Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy. Now, there was a rumor that Hogwarts Legacy might get delayed to 2023. However, that was later debunked. So you guys are seeing this right here. Jason Kellar says that they have big plans for everything that they're doing, HBO Max and launching in different countries and all this different type of stuff. But yeah, he mixed in Gotham Knights in there and Hogwarts Legacy. And sorry to all the Hogwarts fans out there or Harry Potter fans. I'm not that big into the franchise or anything, so I don't really care too much about that. But rest assured, you guys will get your game in 2022. What I want to discuss is Gotham Knights because I am a huge fan of the Batman video game franchises. I still feel to this day that the best superhero game made of all time is Batman Arkham City, and it's the template that so many other games kind of took from and said, hey, we want to make a game like this, or we're going to try to make a game like this. The combat in that game is fantastic. The graphics still to this day look incredible, and I think that this game can finally maybe live up to the original Arkham Asylum and also to the Batman Arkham City. Now, they had a couple games, you know, that didn't really live up to that. Obviously, Batman Arkham Origins. Then you also have the Batman Arkham Knight. Those two games necessarily aren't the best in the series, but they've taken a big break. It's not Rocksteady, so that does concern me a little bit. They're doing the Suicide Squad game, so there is that. But I do feel that this team has a shot. They've probably been looking at what made Batman Arkham City so good and Asylum. And they also have a really interesting plot with Batman being dead or potentially being dead or maybe or something like that. So they have a good plot here. They have some good characters. And I think that it's going to work out really well for this style of game. And I'm very interested in it. And I think that the delay obviously is going to help polish out everything because they wouldn't have delayed it if they didn't feel that it needed to be delayed. So I'm happy about that. And I'm happy that there's a confirmation here for 2022. I'm guessing that around maybe E3 time, even though there might not be an official E3, we'll probably get something from Warner Bros. And some of these other developers putting together stuff, Summer Games Fest, or just their own individual presentation. So what are your thoughts when it comes to Gotham Knights, Hogwarts Legacy, and everything else that we discussed? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.